You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Wisdom Wednesday, presented, of course, by DraftKings. So fired up for today's guest, Shelby Harris. Been a stud D tackle the last few years in the NFL for the Broncos and then the Seahawks. He was part of that Russell Wilson trade. Now, during training camp, I think maybe right before training camp, Shelby signed with the Cleveland Browns. Love the opportunity to talk to an active player like Shelby during game week, going into a huge rivalry in the state of Ohio, Bengals, Browns. You'll get a chance to hear my conversation with Shelby momentarily. Listen, we're not messing around, okay? It's week one. It's NFL regular season. What that means is I want winners. I need winners. People that spread the word via social media, either at Ross Tucker NFL or at Ross Tucker Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, I don't care. Do anything. I'm looking for you, and I want to send you one of these press passes. Maybe I'll send you the Titans Saints NFL on CBS press pass from this Sunday for the game I'm doing. Love those of you that take advantage of the sponsors. You are awesome. And the YouTube shout out is really cool as well. YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Just make a comment on any video, and I'll do a personalized video just to you. And by the way, speaking of Twitter, at Ross Tucker Pod, we're giving away another deluxe edition of Madden. So you do not want to miss out on that. Make sure you follow the instructions at Ross Tucker Pod on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. I want one of you guys, one of the actual listeners, to be the ones that win the Madden, not just some random person on social media. At any rate, you guys are going to love this interview. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
Always fun when we get a chance to talk with a current player here as we head into week one of the NFL season. And I got to be honest with you, I only know Shelby Harris as a stud interior pass rusher. I didn't know that he bounced around early in his career. He was like a journeyman like me. Shelby, welcome to the show, man. I only know what you've done the last 4 or 5 years or whatever. I didn't realize that you had a tough go of it the first couple of years. Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. My first couple of years, I got drafted out in Oakland, and then I was there for 2 years, and then I got cut right before OTAs going into my third year. And then I went to the Jets. I was in Jets for OTAs in camp in 2017. Then I got cut. Back then they used to have the 2 rounds of cuts. It was, they go to 75 and 53. And then I was a free agent for 15 of the 17 weeks, my third year in the league. And then I signed week 16 to the Cowboys practice squad. And then that next year that year after that, I signed the futures with Denver. After I got cut from the Cowboys. And then, it kind of been, a great story ever since, 5 years in Denver, 1 year in Seattle, and then now I'm in Cleveland. So, definitely a lot of adversity in the beginning of my career.
All right, so here's the question. Was it just not a good opportunity? Did you not get much of an opportunity in those other places? Or do you feel like you got a lot better?
Well, when I first came out, I was a true D-end. I was, playing on the edge. I gained some weight and then went in the inside. But honestly, I would really say it was, just a lack of opportunity. It wasn't, it was just really, I got lucky. Well, I hate to say it like this because, injuries happened when I got to Denver and for me to be able to get my chance. I remember that that camp. I remember Jared Crick went down with a back injury. Derek Wolfe had a high ankle sprain. Billy Wynn tore his ACL first preseason game. Zach Kerr sprained his MCL the second preseason game. So It was a lot of opportunity there in front of me, and I just made the most of it.
You know what, man? It's so funny how often that's the story, right? Like, but you know, a lot of guys, Shelby, that happens, and then they get their chance and they prove they can't play. You went out there, got your chance, and proved you could play. Next thing I know, you're getting 6 sacks and you're signing a 3-year, $27 million deal. You know, I'm a guy, Shelby, that got cut 4 times, traded once, played for 5 teams. So much respect for a guy like you to be on practice squads and bouncing around. What did it feel like when you got that contract, man?
Man, it was just it was vindication. Because honestly, at some points, during that struggle, I remember telling my wife, like, "Man, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is just the rejection was just, it was just overwhelming at points." And then that third year, you got to think I worked out for 6, 7 teams, and and when I ended up signing with the Cowboys, I had to work out with them week 2, and then didn't sign with them till week 16. So it was just it was a lot of frustration, and it was tough to keep going. But I had a great support system. My wife was really the main one. I was like, "You have a gift, don't give it up. You gotta keep trying to play. It's not like you're bad. You just need to get in the right situation." And that's kind of what happened in Denver.
Funny, 2 things, Shelby. One is after I got cut the 4th time, maybe, and I told my wife I was going to keep playing, I was going to keep trying. She couldn't believe it. She was like, "Really?" Like and not that she disapproved. She just was surprised that I was willing to subject myself to that devastation and that rejection again. And the other thing is, I remember the 3rd time I got cut was the first time after I'd been married. And she had quit her job in New York City to move with me to Buffalo. I had started 13 games the year before. Then I get cut. I call my best friend. I was like crying, dude, because it was the first time where it wasn't like just I was getting cut. It was like we were getting cut. And it made me feel even worse, you know?
Man, I completely feel that because that's how, when I got traded from Denver to Seattle, it wasn't just me getting traded. It was me and all 4 of my kids getting traded to, and my wife, we're all getting traded to Seattle. And so I think the emotional part for me, obviously, like Denver, I made my career. I really made a name for myself in the business there. It was just, it was emotional because I'm like, man, like I got like, how am I supposed to go home and tell my wife and kids that we have to leave? I'm scrambling trying to call my wife before it comes out on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like trying to, just take care of, doing all that. And it's just, man, it was tough. And then when, get cut from Seattle, and then, we go in the whole off season, and my wife's really the main one who's like, "Dude, I need you to sign somewhere." I'm like, "Oh," but I literally told her, I'm like, "It works out every time." And she looks at me and she glares at me. And she's like, "I wonder why." It's like, "I wonder why." Because she has to deal with all the logistics and, finding a house and putting the kids in school and doing all that. I just have to show up and play football. My wife actually, that's the hard part, trying to figure out everybody's life.
Okay, so when you signed, the whole crew came with you to Cleveland and they're all in school, all 4 of them?
No, so they're in Denver right now. Well, we don't move into our house until next, like, end of this week, next week, and so until we get everything settled, and so it's not like, I'm in an Airbnb right now, just hanging out. But until we get everything settled, they won't come up here. But then the way we do it though, we got lucky because my in-laws moved from the Bay Area into our neighborhood in Denver, and my oldest is a junior in high school. So I always said I would never move a kid in high school. And so she stays back and comes during her breaks because, obviously for a girl going through high school, the last thing you want to do is uproot where she's comfortable and make her move around.
Totally agree, man. It's funny. Totally random, Shelby, but my daughters, 2 of them, first day of school in Pennsylvania was today, and they're going to new school for the first time. I feel like you and I are living like the same life right now. This is funny. Um, What's not funny is what beer you should drink. It's very serious. It's Labatt Blue Light. It's delicious. Anytime you're watching any games, including the Browns and the Bengals on Sunday, drink Labatt Blue Light with your friends. Live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All right, so Shelby, let's talk about Cleveland. I know you had other options. So why Cleveland? Why was that the spot for you?
I really feel like this roster, this team, out of the teams I was talking to, really are the most primed to go win, make a run for the bowl. I'm getting up there in years. I'm going to year 10 this year. So, last year was actually my first taste of the playoffs. And so it's something I want to go back. You want to keep going back. And I feel like, Deshaun's looking like his former self. And then the opportunity to play with, Zadarius, Miles, Obo, Dalvin, Jordan, I couldn't pass that up. You know what I mean? Like that, this would be the best D line I've ever played on. So it just that, and then also playing under Jim Schwartz, like that right there just kind of makes it like it's hard to pass that up. And it's just something that, when I came up for my visit, the cool part about it was that they asked my wife to come out too. And if the quickest way to a man is through his wife. If you can get her on your side, then it's easy. And man, my wife loved it. We both loved. Like the Browns have a lot of women that work in the organization, and it's a breath of fresh air. The organization has been top notch, and they seemed like they were top notch before. So it really made my decision. It kind of made it easy after we came on that visit.
Yeah, that is smart of them to have you bring your wife on the visit. And I'm loving the idea of you and Schwartz's defense and just hitting it, man. Just hitting that B gap, getting upfield. I mean, the D line was an issue for the Browns last year. So for them to get Zadarius, Dalvin you don't mess around with Dalvin inside. And then I think people know this, Shelby, but I know I talk to some linemen that they'll tell you Miles is by a decent amount the best in the game. Everybody loves Bosa, everybody loves all these other guys, but that guy is an absolute freak, dude.
There's no comparison. I literally was telling my wife's like, I never heard you talk about another player like this. I'm like, he's the best player I've ever seen. Like by far, and I play with Vaughn, and it's just I play with Chubb, and I played with Justin Tuck and Lamar Willing, Khalil. Me and Khalil were the same draft class and everything. I'll tell you this: to be able to move the way he does, and to be 6'5", 270, it's unfair. And the guy, you never see him really lose a rush. Even when we go down to these joint practices against the Eagles, doesn't lose a rush. And it's just it's impressive to see.
What I think is crazy is how well he bends for how muscular he is. Like you would think a dude that's like that muscle bound wouldn't be able to bend and dip like he does.
Yeah, he's a freak in nature. You know what I mean? Like to be able to move that fast and to bend that well and to be as big as he is, it's just it's literally just truly a freak of nature. And his understanding of the game, how well he uses his hands. But then what I respect the most is like his willingness to help other people, the young guys, and just he's just a cool, humble dude. And I can say that about everybody on the D line. And when you get names like this, you don't get that, the willingness to help, the no egos. But I can honestly say this whole D line is no egos. Everybody just wants to win, and I couldn't respect it anymore.
Curious about your thoughts on the Bengals coming up. Obviously, it's a really big game. It's a rivalry, all those things. What I think is interesting is Burrow coming into the game with a calf injury. Some people would blitz him, right, to try to make a move, but then maybe he gets rid of the ball quick. Maybe you don't blitz him because you want him to hold on to the ball more and have to try to run around a little bit. What are you thinking about going against a quarterback that is coming into a game less than 100%?
It's an opportunity for your front forward to go eat and go show why we get paid. You know what I mean? Like the D line I like how Schwartz says this. He's like, this, the D line is the engine of the car. We're what gets everything going. And against the Bengals, it's going to have to really come out. We're going to have to, pressure as much as possible because no matter hurt or not, Burrow's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So he can make anything happen, or he wouldn't go out there and play. You know what I mean? So it's just when you're playing one of the top guys, you got to bring it at all levels, of your defense. And so it's going to start with the D line, and we got to go out there. We got to win our one-on-ones, and we got to make our D coordinator feel comfortable only rushing four. Is no, like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta let the guys that are supposed to cover go cover, and you gotta let the guys that go rush. They gotta rush and they gotta get home.
Shelby, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it. I love getting a chance to talk to somebody for the first time. I'll be rooting for you this year. Now that I know you got a daughter who's a junior in high school, I'll really be rooting for you to have a good year. Good luck with the move in. Thank you so much for coming on.
Man, appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
Man, I felt like Shelby and I had a lot of similarities there. Maybe it's because I'm a former player or whatever. You don't get that kind of stuff from the interviews with the beat writers, right? Like you just don't. That's real. Like he's a real person. 4 kids. He's got a daughter that's a junior in high school. I love that stuff. Maybe you guys do. Maybe you don't. Appreciate your feedback always, whether it's an email over to rosstucker.com or those of you that are patrons, patreon.com/RTmedia. Of course, love your feedback always on the private Slack channel, but going to try to get as many active players as possible for our Wisdom Wednesdays. We really only have guests Wednesday and Thursday during the season because Monday I'm giving you my takeaways from the games. Tuesday, power rankings. Wednesday is sort of the mystery guest. Thursday is Greg Cosell, teaching tutorial Thursday, and Friday I am giving you my picks. By the way, today also starts where we have 2, not 1, but 2 Fantasy Feast episodes to get you ready for the season. I'm ready for the season because I got my Raycon everyday earbuds, literally showing them to the folks watching us, youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. Gigantic fan of the optimized gel tips. I like the fact that you can't see them sticking out of your ear. Why do you want things sticking out of your ear so that people see that white thing sticking out of your ear? Let me just tell you, you don't. 8 hours of playtime, 32-hour battery life, over 78,000 5-star reviews. Anybody that ever sees me working out in a hotel, on a plane, in an airport, at the beach, you know I got my blue Raycon earbuds in. School's back in session, which means Raycon is having their annual back-to-school sale. For a limited time only, go to buyraycon.com/Tucker today to get 20% off site-wide, plus free shipping. That's buyraycon.com/Tucker to score 20% off. Buyraycon.com/Tucker.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, we'll start with the absolute worst possible news for my best ball drafts. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce suffers a hyperextended knee at Tuesday's practice.
Well, not only that, Jack, how about the fact that news came out maybe 10 minutes after I took the Chiefs on the Even Money podcast, the betting podcast. I teased the Chiefs from -6.5 down to -0.5, and of course, then this news comes out. Not a good omen for this season. Look, I told you guys before, I'll have them on the show at some point here pretty early in the season. By far, the best injury information is sportsinjurycentral.com. It's not even close. Like, not even close. And as soon as this happened, Dr. Chow said, best case, it's just a bone bruise. Worst case, it's a torn ACL. Thank goodness it looks like his ACL is intact, but it's a bone bruise. He's not playing. Like the fact that they're even acting like he might play, to me, is comical. He's not playing. In fact, I doubt he plays week 2, but this at least gives him 10 days off in between. But I would be shocked, I tell you, if Travis Kelce plays tomorrow night. Very much a bummer. It should be noted, by the way, like, He's been incredibly durable. But you get to 34 years of age and, like, you just get hurt more. You know, most of you guys are old like me. You know the deal. The older you get, the more easily you get hurt. It sucks.
Cowboys right tackle Terrence Steele signs a monster 5-year, $86.8 million deal with over $50 million guaranteed.
But then somebody was examining the contract, and it appears it's actually more like 2 years, $26 million guaranteed, and then the Cowboys have a decision to make. I think there are rolling guarantees, and I think the $50 million is guaranteed for injury. And after the major injury that Terrence suffered last year, I think he's extremely smart to get life-altering money. This is an undrafted free agent like me, and almost like Shelby, the conversation we just had, right? You get a chance to make sure your family's financially set for your entire life, you have to do it. He'll get the upside if he stays healthy and, you know, plays at a high level. But even if he gets hurt again, he gets 50 million, you know, a career-ending injury, gets 50 million guaranteed, gets 26 and a half or whatever, no matter what. I am thrilled for him. He makes a major difference in the run game. He is a very good player, and I'm thrilled that evidently the Cowboys feel like he's been able to come back from that injury in a positive manner to give him this type of contract. Awesome.
Patriots place offensive tackle Riley Reiff on IR, and with that, he will be out the first 4 games of the season.
That's a bad one, Jack. That's a bad one.
Well, it's
He's been a starter in the NFL for double-digit years.
Well, what's the rule? I before E except after C? When you don't follow those rules, I get all confused. You know, you got to follow
There's
the
no
basic
rules when it's somebody's name, bro. I mean, I did Hawaii game, San Jose State, Oregon State. There was a ton of Polynesian guys. Somehow TAGO is Tongo. The G has an N for Polynesian or Samoan or whatever, which I love those dudes, by the way. It's Riley Reiff. Riley Reiff. And that's a big loss for the Patriots because now they might be rotating guys at right tackle. I think Calvin Anderson might get the start going against those monsters off the edge for the Eagles, like Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham. Good luck to you, sir. Calvin Anderson. That is not going to be easy. It is easy, though, by the way, Jack. Very easy to get tickets to my game on Sunday. Now, I don't know why I always tell you guys to get tickets to the game I'm going to on Game Time app, because you shouldn't. You should just watch me on TV. But I just like you knowing how easy it is to have these tickets on your phone on the Game Time app. You get the guarantee, which means you always get the best price. At least 20 of you over the last month or so have gone and downloaded the Game Time app, created an account, used code ROSS for $20 off your first purchase, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem code ROSS for $20 off. You can get into this game for $60, then get the $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
And we'll wrap it up. We got some more Patriots news. Cornerback Jack Jones has agreed to a plea deal of pretrial probation and 48 hours of community service. In return, prosecutors are dropping charges for carrying 2 loaded guns in his luggage at Logan Airport in June.
So I don't know the rules in Massachusetts, but some people that do, like Albert Breer, are very surprised by this and feel like this is very lenient punishment for Jones to have 2 loaded guns in his luggage at the airport. I mean, I have so many questions. I mean, why are you carrying around loaded guns? How can you take them to the airport? I'm like blown away. That would actually be a red flag for me about him, like as a player, like attention to detail. You just carry 2 loaded guns in your luggage to the airport. That is wild to me, but I don't want to get over my skis here. Listen, if the prosecutors did the deal, then they did the deal. But the NFL still might have something to say about this. We'll have to stay tuned on that one. Other than that, so pumped for Greg Cosell tomorrow. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Make sure you go to myfrontpagestory.com if you need any gift for anybody anytime soon. It is by far the best gift you can get a loved one. I guarantee it. Then you got backofficescheduler.com, go-bengals.com, steakhousesports.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, and Pizza Boy Brewing.